now we move on to the piston. The piston's pretty simple, it's just two parts. There's the piston rod, W, and the piston. So you want to make sure, you're going to be assembling this and deassembling this a number of times. So you want to make sure that this slides on snugly, but not too snugly. So you can see that's a pretty tight fit right now. So we'll just sand our parts. Make sure everything's going to slide nice and smoothly. Make sure we're going to do all the edges again, just like we did with the valve. All the sides of that one are done. And we're just going to remove the residue from the edges here. So you want to remove the residue. You don't want to take too much material off. Just smooth the edges just a little bit. And again, I'm working with 220 grit sandpaper because I don't want to remove a lot of material. Just anything you can do to remove any edges that are going to catch. It's a good idea. So let's try assembling again. There's an arrow, and that just makes sure that you orient the part the same way each time. So that's much better. Everything slides together nicely now. And now we can do a test assembly. So what you do is you slide the piston rod through the hole in the front. Then you assemble the piston to the piston rod, always with the marked side facing the front and the arrow up. That way you know you're always assembling it exactly the same way each time. And we're just going to slide this to the front and then just see if this moves smoothly. And that looks pretty good, but you can tell that it's catching somewhere. So what we can do to find out where it's catching is place the lid on the top. Just move this back and forth a number of times. Take the lid off. Remove the piston. And look at the edges. And so you can see there's graphite on the edges where it's rubbing against the side and binding. So we just smooth that off a bit. There's some here, so and try to get just where the marks are, and a little bit there. And then we can reassemble it and try again. So again, arrow up. Does it slide back and forth yet? So the idea here is that it should be riding on the rod, and there should be really no contact between the piston and the walls. It should be very small clearance there. So let's just Try one more time here. Moving it back and forth to transfer any graphite from the areas that might be binding. You can see there's just a couple of small spots. And removing very little material here. And I think that's going to have it. So we'll try just one more time. Just see if it... Oh. I didn't follow my own advice. Look at that. Always assemble it the same way. And you can see now it's nicely matched. It's moving back and forth very nicely. All right, with the parts perfectly matched and sliding back and forth nice and easily, I've coated the piston rod with graphite. And just make sure we got a nice thick coat of graphite on there. And now we're going to assemble, and we've also done the edge of the piston as well with graphite. Make sure you got a good amount on there, nice and smooth. And now we're going to assemble it permanently into the piston body. So again, making sure it's mark side facing forward and the arrow facing up. We're going to slide that in. And now we're just going to apply glue onto the piston rod. So dab of glue there, dab of glue there. And you don't want to spill any glue inside the piston, inside the cylinder chamber. You just want to join the two parts and not stick anything else together. So that looks good. That's all ready to go. And now we can put the last pin on. So the pin that goes on here. So I've got the last little bit of the pin dowel. And again, the length isn't critical. I'm going to grab an L piece. Remove any little bits and pieces that might be stuck onto it. And press this through. Okay, and again, just like the other ones, we're going to press it through the thickness of a piece of plywood. And the T part is an excellent guide for that. So there you can see there's a long end and a short end. Like with the other ones, the long end, we're going to add graphite. And to the pin as well. There, that's a good amount. And now we're going to glue it in place. So we're going to add some glue onto, like so, and simply press it in place. Very good. Make sure we've got enough glue on here.